Hello everyone, welcome back to Roadwarden. Still playing the demo. I don't know how long it's going to last. I'm a little bit, I'm enjoying the demo. I expect I'll get the game. I'm a little bit annoyed with myself. I started playing this demo in the last few days of the Steam sale. And I was like, well, if it's a good game, I'll buy it while it's on sale. But now I've been playing the demo for so long that it's not on sale anymore. And the demo's not over. I mean, I've only played like 2 to 3 hours of actual gameplay over the course of like 3 days. So, I don't know. I thought I would be playing more of it during that time, but it is sort of a lot of work, a lot of reading. I'm not that inclined to play it for like, 6 hours at a time or whatever. But I am sort of starting to see how the game works, and I think the map must be generated differently every time, and the choices you have available are different. But I'm starting to see how it's like a resource management kind of thing, where you have a bunch of tools, and time is one of your resources, and you explore and figure out how you can deploy your resources best to I don't know. So, seems interesting. Yesterday I guess that was the day we left the soldiers' camp, walked up to the inn and spent a lot of time hanging out there. Went west to the ruins and explored, but didn't find anything that promising. Left a trap for fish, so maybe check that out tomorrow. And then we headed west, and I realized I'd been playing for an hour and a half, so that's where we left off. And I've arrived here. You enter the wetlands. I was going to say, I hadn't read any of this text yet, but as I've been getting ready to start the recording, I'm hearing like cricket-style insect chirps and stuff, right? But it's noon. Like, normally you only hear those at night, and I was like, I haven't read any of this text, but I must be at a swamp of some kind, right? That's where you would hear really loud insects in the middle of the day, I think. I don't know, the savannah has kind of like there's certain insect droning sounds that are associated with the savannah during the heat of day. But these cricket-like things, they just sound like the swamps to me. And so it's wetlands. I was right. You enter the wetlands with their many streams, ponds, and fish. Large birds run and fly between the gray, sparse trees that are covered with moss, mushrooms, and critters. For a human, it may be an unwelcoming and harsh realm, but the overwhelming swarms of insects prove that it's a realm full of life. The danger, with teeth and claws, is hidden below the water's surface. Yeah, I keep hearing the snorting of some large animal. I guess it's like an alligator type thing. Well, I'm not given any choices except to stay away, so that's a good policy. I also like the audio. I like the writing in the game. I like the audio design. It's much like richer audio than you usually get. Not in the sense that like, oh, it sounds better, but like it actually changes as you move from area to area, and not just like atmospherically, but in a way that tells you something about what's happening in the area. Right, it's not a soundtrack. It's the sound of where you are. Anyway. This plant shouldn't be alive, not without leaves. It doesn't resemble the other trees of the wetlands. It's something else. You get off your horse and prepare your axe. The water is filled with dirt and dead plants, and it smells like an old corpse. The roots are spreading far, breaking through the water's surface. You don't see any saurians in the grass or on the shore. Oh, so saurians, are they like alligators are an example of a saurian? Yeah, alligators are probably saurians, if I had to guess. They've talked about other saurians, like big lizards people ride or whatever, but alligators could qualify as well. You approach... Oh, in the grasses or on the shore. Yeah, so it could be alligators. You approach the table-like altar. It's weird. The previous screen didn't say anything about this plant or about an altar. Just said, oh, you're in the wetlands, you stay away from the banks. And then, like, here's another thing that's happening. This is kind of the second time where there's like a page of text that makes sense within itself, but it feels like it's introduced kind of abruptly. Like, if the previous page had said, oh, there's a plant in the middle of the water, you're going to go explore it, that would make sense. But this is kind of like abruptly, oh, here's some stuff that you're talking about as if you knew it were there, but we didn't mention it to you before. I don't know. A little bit weird. You approach the table-like altar made of 3 limestone slabs. Were these rocks originally as formless as they are now? Or was there a point in time centuries ago when they were precisely shaped and decorated by masters of artistry? There's no way to tell. Sodal is peacefully observing the dark grass and slapping flies with its tail. Whatever it is that you feel in the air, it's clear that your companion sees this place through very different eyes. So the horse isn't nervous, but I am. Because there's ruins and a tree that is mysteriously alive. There are dark forces hidden in here. I mean, do I know that? The tree is a little weird. I think this place is... I don't know. I should be cautious. I know there are dark forces hidden in here. I ask the right for a vigilant eye and a bright soul. Sure, may as well offer a little prayer before I go exploring someplace spooky. You bow your head, trying to imagine an appropriate ritual. Whenever you start a thought, it runs away, to the sounds of insects, visions of predators, smells of the muddy water. You rub your hands, focusing on what's in your grasp, collecting your wits slowly. It takes a few moments, but you start breathing without sensing the stench. You arrange all the chaotic images into a cohesive utterance. Your prayer is brief, but once it's done, you feel prepared. I'm more interested in the altar. Ancient ruins versus weird tree. There's clumped dirt in the uneven nicks, fused by years of winds and rains. The bottom surface of the table is dusty, but you don't find any spider webs or mold, even though it's a perfect spot for them. The tree roots cling to the altar in many spots. They're firmly attached. You struggle to move them even by an inch. Why am I trying to move them? Okay. The cream-colored limestone is cold and smooth. Could make an offering here, huh? I don't really understand the nature of eldritch forces in this world. You know, do I risk that this is some evil? Maybe. I don't know. As a new player to this universe, I want to explore things and not just say, "Oh, this looks spooky, I'm leaving." Let's try to make an offering. What is your sacrifice? I'm not going to sack my horse, that's for sure. Oh, the list of fish traps I set up I can look up, huh? Interesting. Well, not my rope. That was something they said seemed quite important to me. I don't really want to sack anything. I just thought I'd say a little prayer. But I guess that's not quite an offering. I'm not going to sacrifice a horse. It seems very impious to sacrifice my winged hourglass pendant. I mean, I could sack a food ration. I bought several. Why not? Just type that nice and simple. You place any type of food you can find in your sacks or on the nearby plants. But none of them seem to make any difference. Try something else? I see. So I could try a different offering. I'm not going to sacrifice my horse or whatever. I mean, like, leaves? Plants? Are there plants around here? You place a couple of plants of all types and sizes, but none of them seems to do anything. Yeah. Okay, well, that's fine. Let's see what... Oh, no. What's in the water? You step cautiously. Without knowing how deep it gets, You have to consider that a saurian could be camouflaged in the mud, waiting for a victim to get near. Since you don't plan to kneel down and drink, you're hoping to dodge a potential strike. Once you get closer, you start breathing again. While the water is dirty, it's also shallow. You see the vegetation, swimming insects, and even small fish. All of them stay away from the tree roots, which look like a spider web covering the bottom of the pond. Aside from that, you don't see anything that would catch your attention. So the tree is an important feature of this area. Its roots were also stopping spider webs from forming, we saw, right? And they can't be moved at all, even when they snake through the altar. You kneel in front of one that's lying on the shore. It's brown, covered with hair that resembles that on your arm. When you touch it, it's moist, soft, and warmer than you'd expect. What the hell? Okay, what are the things I could offer to do with it? What do you try to do? I'll stroke it. Maybe. Either you can't do that or I don't understand you. Okay, sure. I'll twist it? You don't know anything. I'm not going to kick this root. That seems very dangerous. Pulling on it, I guess we could try pulling on it. The root doesn't resist your touch, and you can easily bend it. You hold it tightly, and your hands sink into it like it's a soft pillow. You feel its warmth. You start to pull, but with little to no effect, no matter how much strength you put into it. It's firmly held by something in the water, probably covered by the swamp's floor. Okay. I mean, I don't know what else I could really do with a root here. Like, I could hack at it with my axe. That seems reckless. But, I mean, what is life if not for living? Axe. You pull out your axe, then stop in place. You can't tell what the results of wounding the tree would be. This is a warning that what I'm attempting is dangerous, which I knew. But okay, fair enough. If you're going to warn me, I'll leave it alone. Oh, right. No, travel's not an option. What? So make an offering, confirm, walk away. Okay, now that I've walked away, I can travel. All right. So I didn't figure out what to do with this stuff, but that's fine. Ah, the way forward is not available in the demo. I can't go further north than this. Got it. Well, let's head south. So we finally found what the limitations of the demo are. We only have a narrow strip of land to explore. The shapes of mountains are cutting through the horizon. The water gets gradually less muddy. The cleaner it gets, the more animals you see. A family of deer blocks the road. They talked about roe deer earlier. I don't know if that's what these are or what. Resting and enjoying the cold water, which would be deadly for a human stomach. You consider riding around them, through the sparse meadow, but your presence also causes them disquiet. Without much haste, they regroup and run east into the leafy forest. But your presence also causes them disquiet, I guess would be a better way to read that. They ran east into the forest. Okay. I traveled forward. You've reached Hag Hills, the wall of stones that has blocked the city's grasp. The one well-established route through them leads through the valley where you found Talia's camp. Right, so we followed the road from Talia's camp here. There are no maps of the Highlands, nor local tribes, only stories. The beaten path leads you by the garden beds of herbs and vegetables to an old, yet not abandoned mine, hidden behind a massive door made of steel. Okay, there's no hitching a rail for a mount. A bearded, skinny elder sits on a bench, observing you like a sculpture, with his legs crossed and fingers interlocked on his abdomen. So he's just like a guy who hangs out here near the door? Interesting. I mean, friendly seems appropriate. You could also understand distanced or intimidating. I am a warrior. It's the kind of thing to, like, try to lean on. Or I'm a fighter. It's a thing you could lean on occasion. I wonder what intimidating looks like here. Just Stare at him? Okay. Good day, don't worry about my horse. I'll keep it away from your garden. Is there a garden? Garden beds of herbs and vegetables. Yes, I wasn't paying enough attention to this, I guess. Huh. So does this guy live here, or what's the deal? Or respectfully getting off your horse. I see. So the intimidation is staying on my horse. Kind of making myself large. And asking him to make the first move. Sure, why not? We've been polite so far. This is just a guy. Skinny old guy. After a silent minute, the man bursts out laughing. Oh my god, I don't want to read this accent. You do not ever have time to touch the ground? If you're going to dwell there, better speak loud and clear, O brave vanquisher. But do not expect me to welcome a brigand with a chatter. Before you answer, he reprimands you with a thick accent. I need you to look at me while you speak. I can't hear you without magic, but I'll read your lips. 'Tis a refuge for those who are trusted, and I see no friendly breath in you. Say what you're looking for and leave me be. He doesn't yell, but his voice reminds you of a combat instructor from the city. His face is wrinkled, but he sits straight, with beard and hair still carrying glimpses of fair blonde. He's tanned like a worker, and his eyes are blue and piercing, as if they belonged to an infant. Okay, so he's deaf, but he can read lips. Cool. What do you call him? What do I call him? I thought I was explaining who I was. I mean, it seems like he's sort of acting as the guardian of this door? We'll just call him Sir. We'll be generic. I mean, the thing is, I don't know. Like, is this something I'm going to use in the conversation with him? Or is it something that's going to go in my, like, journal as, like, you know, the guy guarding the door? I don't quite understand which of those makes the most sense. So it would be nice if I could pick something. I could call him the doorman. That's kind of funny. It fits in both contexts. He stares off across the garden beds, forcing you to wait in silence. The elder is tall, with long hair and a beard that was let loose a long time ago. His sandals are covered in dust, and you spot dirt on his clothes and skin. The woolen tunic and linen were made with care, decorated with colorful threads at the collar and sleeves. Now all the blues and greens have faded, and the fabric is held together by patches and stitches. His hands are still folded, the voice remains firm. You do not know our customs. Your name, your trade, your calling mean nothing to the forest. I do not know what you expected to find here, but this is no place for strangers. Boy, and then everything I can say here is rude because of the attitude I chose. I guess I'll wait for him to look at me, because that's the only way he can understand me anyway, and smirking doesn't seem very helpful. The man stands up and approaches your palfrey. Without touching it, he observes its eyes, mane, stomach, and rear. Sadal ignores this examination. My nose was right then. Astarion is dead, as are his plans. Such is the fate of all dreamers. He turns toward you with a grim look. Are you going to look for him? You nod. Why? If he's vanished into the fogs, there's no point in putting yourself in danger. What do you expect to find? I need to know what kind of danger he encountered. It's true. He was a very well-equipped Roadwarden of the past. I'm taking over his job. He's observing you carefully. Do you plan to get rid of this danger, or maybe learn from Astarion's mistakes? Or are you still thinking about leaving this land for good? He starts to chuckle. Only the right questions will bring you the answers. With lively steps, he heads towards the spring. He washes his hands, once again forcing you to wait. So here I'm not even saying anything. It's just asking me what I should think about what's happening. What I do think. What my character should think and what I do think, maybe. So charitable would be, oh, he needs time to gather his thoughts. I don't really think that's what's going on. I think he's trying to control the conversation, not necessarily to put me in my place, but maybe to force me to have time to think? I guess this is a more accurate description of what I think is happening. His voice is cold and confident. So, what do you need? Oh, interesting. I know how I should have addressed you. I want to fix my mistake. So if I knew who he were, I could have chosen the right term to refer to him and he would be more receptive, maybe. Have you met Asterion? Yes, obviously he has. Oh, can you tell me anything about the altar? Sure. He smiles. 'Tis the tree that you should pay attention to, the true gift from the forest. It answers to our offerings and rewards us with its magnificent fruits. They heal both shell and soul, and make anyone who eats them stronger than they ever were. We gather around this altar whenever the winter ends, and while it requires a painful sacrifice from all of us, it prepares one's soul for the future like nothing else could. So, I mean, a painful sacrifice, huh? So maybe it wants me to sacrifice something valuable or literally a part of myself? Those are two different interpretations of pain. Okay, well, what about the village? The ruined village? I'm not willing to tell you that. He raises his chin with his beard, and his beard shakes. That shameful tale ought to be kept in the past for the sake of the living. Don't agree, but whatever. What can you tell me about the druids? I will not share our paths with strangers. We are of N? For the people of Howler's Dell and for the lands around it. N has seemed like and in his dialect. So maybe we are of both? I don't quite understand. I think he is a druid, is what he's saying to me. Maybe. What if I just called him a druid? No. You don't understand the sound of the forest. You're as deaf as these rocks. You want to build bridges, but for you, they're just structures owned and used by humans. Prove that you're ready to learn our customs, and the bridge will grow on its own. What bridge? Did I say I wanted to build a bridge? I don't think so. What can you tell me about this place? Your eye sees what there is to know. People found copper in a cave. It's been abandoned for a long time now, so we turned it into a shelter to stay close to the sacred tree and its altar. We're servants, my wife and I, and this place is nothing more than a servant's house. Close to the sacred tree, the one at the swamp. Okay. Tell me about the peninsula. I've lived here for almost a century, traveled both by the paths and through the wilderness. His voice becomes stronger and makes you think of a bard. But I will not be your guide or a teacher, and if there's anything I can wish for, it's that you will stay away from the woods. The creatures get angrier the more we take from them. They do not listen to our warnings, and one day they'll bury us under a storm of claws and fangs. There will be no soul to spare a tear after us. His eyes are as harsh as a hawk's, making him look like a priest who hears a child asking for honey on a day of ceremonial fasting. Do not poke the hornet's nest. Do not ride east, and never use the path that runs through the heart of this land. That road was meant to save time, but brings only death. I'm not sure exactly what path he's talking about. Be a servant, not an overseer. Do not try to bend this place to your will. He points at you and wags his finger after every word. Your will, anyone's will, is the key to danger, not salvation. Huh. I mean, I need to take some risks, I think. He's observing your lips. Do you need anything else? Updated my journal on exploring the peninsula? Oh, like reminding me about things this guy might have told me. I don't think any of this is what's new here. Maybe this? I don't think so. Huh. Alright, if you say so. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to ask him about everything. I guess I'll ask, how do you survive? I do want to know about Asterion. I suppose I should ask that. His raised voice makes him sound like a preacher. One day, me and my wife will be but defenseless old people, but we studied pneuma and leaves for many decades. I heal wounds and illnesses of humans and animals alike, and the beasts listen to our whispers. The holy seed lets our shells wait for death and strength. Okay, sure. Not really an answer. Just magic, I guess. He wanders among the garden beds, from time to time touching the leaves at hand. He was here more than once. He was no one to stand aside and let events play out by themselves. The villagers from the north are sometimes in need of my assistance, and Asterion was serving them as a messenger. He bends down and tears away a small flowerless plant. He wanted to settle down among these roads, maybe to live freely. He had great plans and wanted to make this realm flourish. To rebuild the ruins, get rid of the brigands, and clear the trade route. I told him that the forest needs more people, needs no more people, and that this realm is too wild to feed and clothe everyone. His greed and dreams have eaten him, and now he is no more. He pauses, and you can hear his heavy breathing as if he's getting tired. He straightens up. And that's that, traveler. If you want to look for his shell, travel north, far north. People there should know where he is. Okay. I'm not asking this guy for a job, that's for sure. And I don't need a place to rest yet. It's still like 1 p.m. So I can't go this way. There is no further traveling. Well, looking for a job, sure. I mean, why not? We have everything we need. I don't imagine the bandits were bothering him, but he might tell me something about where to find them. He strokes his beard, but then grasps it nervously. There are souls who steal from White Marshes, a village in the north. They would not dare to show up here, but those brigands are brutes, simpletons. Even their leader, Glossia, listens only to force, and will humiliate for the enjoyment of her band. She will not be afraid of some lost Roadwarden. He lets go of his beard and lowers his head. She's drifted so far away from her old self, a kind, bright girl from Gale Rocks, loved by her parents. But now, do not cross her or she'll find you. Alright. Yeah. So we can't go this way because we're playing the demo. This one's a painful sacrifice. I mean, I don't know. It's a mystery. I could cut the route. That seems like an extremely reckless thing to do. I can go this way, which I remember being marked as, like, dangerous. Take me 2.5 hours to get there, and leave me pretty close to a place to rest. at the end of the day, right? Sure. Might as well see what kind of danger is to the east. You notice fresh paw prints. At least one goblin was searching this area. That was... The wild plants need about 2 weeks before they ripen. Oh, so there might... 2 weeks is within the scope of the game. There might actually be something if I come back here later. Interesting. The curvy road east is overgrown. Sadal trots when it has a chance, but more often it walks, forced to jump over larger branches blocking the path. The nearby lake is surrounded by thirsty wildlife. Okay, I'll observe the dark forest, ready to react if something jumps at me. A couple of stone slabs were turned into a hut-like shape, one of the ancient chapels raised by priests of the United Church in the days of few soldiers and even fewer shelters. The dolmens proved to be especially durable, though the conditions they offered were harsh, so I could rest here, I suppose. The entrance is barely wide enough to let you walk inside. It was meant to keep larger beasts away, including your palfrey. You can't spend the night here. Well, never mind. Because I gotta have my horse safe when I rest, maybe? The hourglass carved into stone? What do you wear? What? Okay, well, let's do that, I guess. It's the most common religious sign of the city folk, adapted by the United Church, Orders of Truth, and the majority of fellowships. I assume they're talking about this, but this doesn't look like an hourglass to me. It's an angel, right? Or maybe an hourglass with wings? Maybe. It's used to decorate. It's used in temples during the funeral rites, but also to decorate codices or jewelry. The winged hourglasses portray the ephemerality of life and the rigidity of time. When possible, they're made of steel, signifying the strength of humankind's determination and innovation. I mean, this is. I am a member of a fellowship, is my understanding, right? I guess I could check, but that's what I believe I claimed during my religious. Yeah, I'm a member of a fellowship. It seems appropriate for me to touch the hourglass and pray. The stone welcomes your open palm coldly. The hourglass doesn't start to shine, the birds don't cease their singing, there's no incense inviting you into the chapel. Yet once you close your eyes, gather your thoughts, and rub the sacred sign with your fingers, your soul is focused and tranquil, as if awakened after a long rest. In your silent prayer, nature seems both distant and familiar. It doesn't shape itself around your thoughts, but you feel like nothing is going to hurt you, not while you're here. So be it, you say at the end of your prayer, as your ancestors have taught you. The birds are singing delightfully. I step away. Alright, I'll check out the chapel. The beams of light get through the gaps between the rocks, but you can hardly see anything. A torch would fill the place with smoke, but a candle will suffice. You wonder how many travelers have sat on the cold rock, observing the entrance and fighting with their heavy eyelids. Okay. What am I looking for or paying attention to? I mean... the walls? The floor? I don't know what's in there. Is there like a bench? Or some sort of... like an altar-like place to make an offering? I don't know. Yeah, the walls are around you, sure. The floor is under me, I bet. Oh. Even though a part of the ground is covered with a single massive slab, there are parts free of any flooring. You see soil, small rocks, sand. In one spot, you find the remains of charred wood. So that was a fireplace once? Okay, well, what's up with the slab? Same thing. Wood? A part of the floor is littered with the remains of an old campfire, not more than a couple of months old. Interesting, because they said a torch in here would fill the place with smoke, so who's lighting a campfire? You see dust, burnt bones, and wood. The wall above the spot is covered with soot. Okay, I mean, anything interesting about the soot? You notice sticky soot on the walls. Parts of it cover black marks and pictures, possibly letters. Ooh. Some writing? Oh, look, and it's updating the view here. How cool is that? Writing? I'm a fighter. I don't even know if I can read. If I'd been a... What was the kind of... It was fighter and mage, and was the other one like... It wasn't cleric exactly, but it was... It was some sort of learned person, right? Maybe I'd have a better time reading this. A large part of the wall is covered with engravings. It's difficult to figure out what they're meant to portray, but one picture is obvious to you. A long arrow pointing down. Parts of the writing, as well as the nearby wall, is covered with soot. Well, let's look at the arrow, please. Oh, that's the same thing. So there's something of interest here, and the writing would tell me what it were, if I understood it better, maybe. It's gonna be just the same thing if I do this, yeah. If I say floor, it's, yeah, the same thing. Yeah, I don't know what to make of this. There's clearly something important here. In the same way that the weird tree and altar were clearly important, but I don't know how to interact with them yet. Huh. Anything interesting on the ceiling? Couple spider webs. One of the spots on the ceiling is covered by soot. Okay, so I could look at the soot, and that would be another way to find the stuff I've found so far. Is there any just like rubble lying around or something? No. Rocks? Okay, well, bye. Let's keep going further east into the danger area. This sounds dangerous. The neglected path barely finds any space among all the hills, trees, and streams. There's a deer on the ground, lying in a red puddle, surrounded by a small pack of creatures which notice your presence quickly. There's about 8 of them, with thick furs in shades of brown, gray, and black, and hairless faces with small eyes and large mouths, currently stained by the blood of their prey. What kind of creatures? We haven't really heard yet. They're just furry. Some of them move on all fours, while others comfortably stand on 2 feet. Apes? We saw ape footprints at the ruined village. Okay. They're 2 to 3 heads shorter than you, but it's your mount which truly towers over them, and you see how a couple of the beasts take a few steps back, grunting and glancing at one another. Oh, it says at the bottom they're goblins. The one with gray fur shouts, and the others move toward the rocks and sticks which are piled on the road. Cool. I like that little, I don't know what you'd call it, a guitar sting or something there. They hold them awkwardly, and some struggle to maintain a straight posture, leaning on their new weapons for support. Then, almost all of them spread to your left and right, blending with the shrubs loudly. Only 2 of the apes are standing still. Wait, so they're apes, but also goblins. I mean... It seems like a very bad idea to attack all these guys. But... like... There's not much else to do in the demo, right? So... and I am a fighter. I may as well see how it's going. Let's... grab my axe and hold the reins tight. Sadal tries to turn around, but loyally follows your directions. Yeah, so I could charge him or scream at him. May still have time to load my crossbow. Offer some food to leave me alone. Look behind me? Yeah, that's a good point. They might have snuck up. Let's see what the force options are. There isn't time to load the crossbow, is something that I know from my warrior's training, apparently. I need to stay in the saddle, so getting out would have been a bad idea. And waiting for them would have been a bad idea, too. Interesting. Well, let's see if they're behind me yet. You see a surprised goblin, which, as far as you can tell, was not a part of the group surrounding the carcass. It's holding a wooden spear, or rather a pointed stick, larger than the creature is tall. I guess, yeah, try to disarm. It doesn't say it's attacking me. Dodge the hit, but I guess it is trying to attack me. I'll hit the spear with my axe, I guess? You hit the wooden staff, but either you're lacking strength or your weapon is just too blunt. The spear gets pushed away, but that's all. The goblin grunts and raises it again, preparing for the attack. It makes a threatening cry, and the other goblins shout both at you and at one another. They suddenly leap forward, trying to get to you from multiple directions at once. There's more of them now than at the start, over a dozen. Well, I can't win and I can't run away. Let's charge at them. Your mount speeds up, so it doesn't have enough space to enter a gallop. You prepare your weapon, but while you may have hundreds of hours of training behind you, hardly any of them happen in the saddle. You do your best to focus. The younger goblin attempts to stop your horse, but the strike it receives sends it into the nearby bush, screaming in pain. The gray one, however, manages to grab your boot and is now trying to keep up with your speed, making one long leap after another. The first strong swing of your axe wasn't able to reach the target. A spear would do better in this scenario. Oh, if only I had taken it from the other goblin, huh? I guess try and chop its head off? I don't know that kicking it off would be very successful. It's a difficult strike, and it lands on your own flesh. Thankfully, it was the blunt side, not the edge of your axe that hit your leg. The beast, however, gets scared. It lets go of the boot and leaps away, landing on its two hind limbs. So I lost 1 or maybe 2 vitality? I think I might have been at 3 before. It shouts after you, but stops its pursuit. Though it hurts, your leg is free, the road is clear. We ride as fast as we can. For a few more moments, you hear the angry shouts and screeches, but soon after that, it's again only you and your mount. Time to see what we're going to find down the road. Okay, well, I made it through there, but I got beat up. It's getting late, better look for a place to sleep, yeah. Well, I was planning to go back to the inn, but now I know there's a bunch of goblins in between me. Am I covered in blood, or... I don't seem to be. Yeah, alright. A round pine tree blocks the road. For a wayfarer, walking over the thin branches at the top is not much of an issue. Even Sodal, led on a rope, could walk around the stump. But a large wagon couldn't move onward in one piece. At least not without detaching the mules, unpacking all the wares, and moving everything by hand. Cutting a tree into pieces would take hours, even with proper tools, and you can't hope to move it with just the muscles that you and your mount have to offer. Yeah, I can't get rid of the obstacle. I could put fish there, but nope. Alright, well, look around, I guess. Seek shelter was an option, because it is getting late. I don't remember hearing there being a wagon. I heard that a wagon couldn't get through. I didn't... The wagon? Also, are these investigations taking time? Doesn't seem like it. The planks are still firm and there's no mustiness in the air, but the vehicle needs just a push to fall to pieces, like a child's toy with nothing to keep the parts together. There are ways to construct a wagon with just wood, leather, and fiber, but you find the marks of hinges, braces, nails, and clamps, which are now all gone. The wheels are missing their steel rims. You find only one linen bag, empty and moist. You can't estimate how deep the tracks are. The ground was hard, so the cart's weight wasn't a significant factor. Tracks? In the trampled grass, you find 2 sets of tracks to follow. There are no hoof prints. The first set is near the destroyed wagon. The wayfarers suddenly stopped. You can see where they made a sharp turn. The second trail is close to the tree stump. Most of the marks were left by flat, cheap boots, not suitable for long walks, but someone was wearing hard, wide heels, distorting the ground. So most people had cheap boots. But there was one person who was, like, more well-equipped from the ambushing party, perhaps. Both trails avoid the eastern wilderness. They stick to the main road and lead you north. They could have belonged to 24 people, maybe more. You follow them for a bit, but lose them once there's no more mud and tree needles to find. The stump. You don't find any marks of a maw or paws. The top is hip-high and unnaturally smooth. You can comfortably sit down on it. Yeah. Still not taking any time. The area? You walk deeper into the wilderness, searching through the shrubs and trees. You don't find any side paths, nor remains of a camp or a hamlet. The first game trail you find has been used exclusively by animals. So, okay, now it was 2 hours 45. So this is taking a little bit of time, I think. I guess I'm trying what my character wants me to do, or wants to do, or is offering to let me do, is investigate this area to understand, like, what happened here. Huh. I mean, it seems like there were wayfarers, travelers coming this way in a wagon, and it was too narrow a spot to get through. And then someone ambushed them when they were trying to do something? The Western Hill? The rocky wall isn't much of a challenge. The top of the hill is covered with short grass and sparse trees. You notice a couple of bushes with a good view of the road, just next to the remains of a campfire. Yeah, so there were ambushers hanging out in the bushes at a kind of camp area that they regularly used. Charred pieces of wood, ash, bird bones, trampled grass, and a broken earthenware bottle. You follow the deepest tracks leading to the edge of the soft earth. Someone jumped down, or at least stopped stepping on the grass. Right. I already looked at the road? I don't think so. The road here is already being overgrown, faded away, but it's in no worse shape than the other paths of the southeastern route. No alternate path has formed around the blockade. I mean, we may as well check out the bushes and the tree, I guess. The leaves are not completely dry, and when you break one of the twigs, it still contains water. There are no signs of sickness that you can recognize, and the termites and other bugs are still sparse. Beneath the trunk, there's no blood, no abandoned limbs. I think I know what happened. To the tree? Well, it was cut down to set up an ambush, right? Why was the wagon abandoned? It was attacked by highwaymen. What was originally transported on the wagon? I don't know. I don't think. There was a bag. Well, there were like a dozen different sets of footprints. So maybe there were passengers? Huh. I'm also not sure why the wagon was abandoned necessarily. Am I? Well, I think it was the ambush that, like, they maybe ran away from the ambush or something, or they were killed. I think it's sort of impossible to tell. What happened to the owners of the wagon? I think they were taken north. You think the tree was cut down to set up an ambush. The cart, which transported unknown contents, was attacked by highwaymen and its owners were taken north. This all seems plausible to me. Yeah. Well, you can't be sure of what really happened. You don't think there's much left for you to find. Let's hope you haven't missed anything. Interesting. So it doesn't really tell me, like, what did I do that investigation for? It was interesting. I didn't know until... Well, I guess I sort of knew. I was trying to find out what happened here. I don't know if I was right. Maybe this is just something I'm reporting? I don't know. I have second thoughts about the investigation. There was like one thing I hadn't looked at. The river, I think. Okay, let's have another look. The river. And the bushes. No, we checked out the bushes, didn't we? No arrow marks around, not even on the wagon. But there is a pointy arrow made by a human hand. Okay. Fine. It would take only 2 steps to disappear in the deep water. The rocky bank smells fresh and is filled with the sounds of frogs, insects, and birds. It's not a good spot to quench your thirst. The beds of long kelp, pulled by the flow of the river, are crowded with fish and 4-legged creatures that you don't even recognize. You keep an eye on the land. There's no carcass in sight and no sign of shells that would be left nearby. Okay, show me the tracks again. There are no hoof prints. Before or after the downed tree, I guess. Yeah, this is taking a little time. Okay. So this was a wagon being led not by horses or whatever. First says near the destroyed wagon, the wayfarers suddenly stopped. They made a sharp turn. So, like, yeah, the tree wasn't in the way, and then suddenly it fell over, and they were like, oh my gosh, we got to stop right now. Second trail is close to the tree stump. Mostly left by cheap boots, but someone had, like, good boots. Both trails avoid the east. They stick to the main road and go north. Yeah. So I think I know what happened here. Is that... Okay, I have undone my claim to know what's happened here. Alright, but I still think the same thing. The tree was knocked over to cut up and set up an ambush, for sure. The wagon was abandoned because... I mean, it was attacked by highwaymen, right? You could argue they had no time to move it, like, because they were running from highwaymen, but this is more detailed. I still don't know what was in the wagon, right? Let me check the wagon one more time. The planks are still firm, there's no mustiness, the vehicle just needs a push to fall to pieces. Their way, yeah, it was constructed with hinges, braces, and nails, but they're all gone. The wheels are, like, all the good... Yeah. Huh. Okay. Well, I think I know what happened here. There's an ambush by highwaymen. Don't know what they were carrying. And... I haven't seen, like, bloodstains or anything, and there were tracks leading north. I think they were taken north by the ambushers. Yeah. Alright. Well, see ya. As long as you ride uphill, the forest is sparse. Soon after, the tree roots tear the path apart. The road is... Oh boy, I gotta find somewhere to sleep. I mean, I can always get back... Well, no, I can't necessarily get back home because of all the apes, right? Goblins, whatever. The road is coated with branches, acorns, leaves, and chestnuts, and some seedlings have already broken through the pitted surface of the road. If left undisturbed for another year or two, the forest will reclaim this place. Finally, you ride upward again. The plants are getting smaller, the road more rocky. Okay, I'm relieved. While the hills are full of life, you don't hear anything coming from the watchtower. See, like, it didn't tell me about a watchtower before. It's weird that it's, like, assuming I know about this place. Its upper level lacks a wooden platform from which the guards could fire their crossbows or drop stones on the opponents below. So this place was not meant to be used in combat, but rather as a shelter from claws and fangs. Such structures can be found in especially untamed parts of the Dragonwoods, used occasionally by travelers or patrolling squads. Since the end of the war, the cities can't find enough people and dragon bones to keep them in good shape. You see no footsteps, no lights, no fresh trash or a latrine. The birds are preening their feathers on the top of the tower, while the branches of nearby trees are swaying in the fierce cold wind. Oh, I could look for the tracks I saw near the tree. That's interesting. The tracks lead here through the narrow gate, then west. The hard heels are especially noticeable. Okay, we're here. What does the sign say? Can I read? The planks and letters are damaged by decades of rains, forests, borers, and claws. Borers is in, like, woodpecker kind of thing, I think? Or termites or something. You scratch off some of the moss. There are 3 planks on the signpost, each one pointing in a different direction. The letters don't tell you anything. Yeah, I can't read, I think. The plank on the top points both south and north, but there are no pictures that would tell you anything more than that. The one beneath it points east. Oh, Scholar. I think that might have been the third class I could have taken on. Anyway. The one beneath... There are no pictures. Arrow. The plank on top points south and north. The one beneath it points east, and there's a word written in blue paint. The arrow here looks more like a magic wand. The bottom plank has a picture of a tall tower surrounded by little houses and points west. The wood is covered in red paint, suggesting danger. So to the east, there's, I don't know, maybe a wizard? And to the west is a dangerous town? Check out the campfire. You see a shattered bowl, the remains of a meal from many years ago. However, the firewood and the lonely stool are not too old. You don't doubt that the watchtower seems less threatening to wayfarers than the wilderness around it. Yeah, me too. I may use this campfire spot in the future if I have any raw meat, which I currently don't. Okay. I already looked at the signs. I'm not going to just, like, go check out the trees. So, the entrance to the tower rather than the gate to pass through. It's nighttime. I'd like to sleep here if I can. You take a look at Sodal. If necessary, it could bow its head and walk inside. This place should be a decent shelter for both of you. The planks are strong, heavy, well protected from rain and wind, and when you knock, they seem to be thick. While the door shakes at your push, it won't open. Defensive structures usually have a locking bar on the inner side, but you also see a large keyhole. You walk around the tower, making sure there are no open windows or other entrances. It doesn't look like you can get in without destroying the door, and doing so is going to make a potential entryway for wild creatures. I'm too weak to destroy the door anyway. Got beaten up by goblins. Keyhole? There's nothing in the hole, but the room is dark with tiny bits of light passing through the crevices of the windows. See the shapes of wooden furniture, like tables, casks, and a ladder. Well, I don't have a key. Maybe I will look in the trees. Maybe they left a key under the doormat. It must be a human-made... Oh, I never know. Do you pronounce this word? I think it's a copse, not a copse. Is that right? I think it's a copse. Let's look that word up. Copse.
Copse.
Yeah. Only the smallest of the spruces are out of order, born of wild seeds. The largest trees are as tall as the tower itself, which surely doesn't help those who were meant to observe their surroundings. There are also some stumps, most of which used to belong to young saplings. These trees were likely meant to be sold to carpenters and coopers, but they were left alone many years ago. In the copse, you find wild fennel and lettuce thriving in shadows, and there are pears and berries growing among nearby trees and shrubs. The wild plants will ripen a year from now. Okay, well, check out the gate. Setting up a firm wall in a place like this is a bit unusual. It goes on for no more than 40 feet until it connects with a natural rock face. Such a structure could be found near the city, acting as a checkpoint at which to stop any travelers to search through their belongings or request a fee. But in the middle of nowhere, deer and other animals, used to running here with no hindrance, must have been more than annoyed. A risky investment. You touch the gate, made of a high-quality wood, previously soaked in oil, now mostly wiped off. It was left open, and you don't see any wooden bar that would be used to lock it. You try to move the cold planks, buried in dried-out mud, but with no luck. It would require some wearying digging. Well, I don't have any way to get a key? Is there somewhere around here I could sleep? In one of these boxes or something? It's too dangerous to stay here. Find the closest shelter at Talia's camp. Oh, I see. So it's saying you can't sleep here. I could click this button to go to Talia's camp, but the creatures of the night will attack me. So let me look at the map. Most treks require further journey to be completed. We've already explored every area that's part of this demo. Okay. So we could go places from here. And I guess the issue is it's 2.5 hours to here. I see. So to go back home, or to find somewhere safe, I've traveled too far, right? I don't know. I mean, and it's saying, yeah, you can go, you have to sleep somewhere safe, and to get there, you'll have to travel at night, which means you'll take some damage. What if I go here first? Can I not? Okay, I can. Okay, can I seek shelter here? No. Okay. Well, let's seek shelter and just see what happens. That means lose 1 vitality or lose 3? The pyre is no more. The stench barely lingers. The soldiers are preparing bowls of gruel. Talia welcomes you with a nod. Yeah, I am still alive. I gotta sleep, lady. I'm dying here. And if I sleep here, I think that even is worse for my vitality. I should have gone to the inn, but it's too late now. It's night. More questions, yeah. Any idea what happened to the ruined village? Nah, there were goblins around the walls, so we never went there. But I was told that the wrath of the herds crushed it, maybe 10 years ago? If there are any survivors, they're surely gone now. Maybe they moved or got caught by bandits. Speaking of, you know anything about those bandits? Yes, there are other bandits in the woods after all. This peninsula really hates us. We can't make a dent in its shell. Talia puts a hand on his shoulder, then looks back at you. Thanks for telling us, Roadwarden. If I survive long enough to report someone, I'll be sure to mention it. Yeah, good idea. Alright. Thanks. And I could sleep here. Okay, so do I die because I went to sleep with 0 vitality? Huh. And when sleeping, like most people, you wake in the middle of almost every night. Before your second sleep comes, you spend an hour or two taking care of your belongings, shell, and soul. Some people spend this time with their friends, families, or lovers, but your routine is different. You don't have to take care of essential tasks, ... Yeah, so I've heard that, like, these days it's sort of assumed that people sleep through the night. And if you wake up during the night, you try to go back to sleep, generally speaking. But I've heard that, like, it was more common back in medieval or maybe not quite that long ago, but, you know, a long time ago. It was expected you would wake up in the middle of the night and you'd do something for a while and then go back to bed. Anyway, not really in good shape to work out. Let's check on the horse. Yeah, okay. So I'm in terrible shape. I seem exhausted and my face is dirty. I could wash up. Oh no. My soap is not enough. I'm too filthy. Okay. Well, that's it for the demo. It's a lot of work to play this game and record it as well. And I think finishing a whole playthrough would take months. So I'm probably not going to publish more videos. I'm not 100% sure on whether I will continue to play the game, like buy the real game and play it. I'm interested, but like not all that much has happened, and there's been a ton of reading. I don't know. I mean, I've enjoyed the setting and figuring out what's going on here, but I don't feel like I've been given a lot of payoff for doing any of it. I don't know. Maybe if I'd been a scholar, I would have understood better what was happening. So that was the demo for Roadwarden. Hope you guys enjoyed. Is it Roadwarden or Roadwarden? Yeah, not plural. Roadwarden. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.